This week on the PowerPLAY Show, a new study found that people who experience multiple COVID-related stressors were more likely to feel the toll of the pandemic as socioeconomic inequities in mental health continue to widen. My guest this week has literally been through the storm and is here to share her story and hopefully help others heal. My sit down with Wendy McAdams-Flores coming up next on the PowerPLAY Show.
From the studios at Hellbait Productions, this is Season 3 of the PowerPLAY Show. Now, here's Tonya McGrath.
Welcome to the PowerPLAY Show. I'm Tonya McGrath. Depression among U.S. adults persisted and worsened during the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic, found in a new study by public health researchers at Brown University and Boston University. The study found that more than 32% of U.S. adults experienced elevated depressive symptoms in 2021, compared to 8.5% before the pandemic. Add to this the number of unreported cases of anxiety and depression, particularly in African American and Latino communities. The numbers are likely to be much higher. However, many mental health professionals believe the pandemic's true toll on mental health won't be known for a long time. Wendy McAdams-Flores, once thriving as an advocate for social services in New Jersey, as well as an educator in both New Jersey and North Carolina, was a victim of the enormity of mental health in the COVID era. She lost 14 family members to COVID and quickly began experiencing symptoms of anxiety and depression. Wendy has been unable to work, and because of the stigma regarding mental illness, particularly among people of color, she lived in denial. Eventually, Wendy began seeking support through counseling and joining community Christian groups whose members are also living with anxiety and depression. She is now here to share her story in hopes of helping others in her same path. Wendy, welcome to the PowerPLAY Show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wendy, I want to begin and rewind to maybe about 2019, 2020, before we learned of the pandemic, what we learned as the word COVID, which is now part of our existence forever. Talk about what your life was like.
Most people who know me know I love the community. So I did a lot of service in the community, especially through my sorority, and spending a lot of time in church and just fellowship with my friends. I belonged to a group called Sister in Faith, and that was just parents from PTA who had gotten together years ago just to serve our children in the community. We formed our own group and we would celebrate one another once a month. And when the pandemic hit, of course, all of our lives shifted. So the things that I like to do, bowling, going to the movies, going out to dinner, spending time with my friends, it all came to a halt. So we're trying to be creative on how we're going to live because we don't know what's going on. Everyone living in fear. So that was the first step. And then I was working at the school at the time. So then everybody went home and it became a virtual event. So I dealt with that for a while until I started having, I thought, panic attacks. That's what the doctor would tell me. He said, they're little panic attacks, but I said it's a little different because yes, family members were passing before 2019, I knew how to handle death. But when 2021, my life changed. So 2020, it slowly started to change because actually in January of 2020, I started getting sick. I had this horrible cold. I went to the doctor. I went to the ER. No one could figure out what was going on. My doctor kept saying it was a virus, bronchitis, your asthma. I said, this is different because I don't sleep. When I lay down, I have a postnasal drip I never had before. So I kept choking when I slept. So I started sleeping on the couch or sleeping in a lounge chair. And I said, something is just not right. Me being me, I'm that person that cleans everything and gotta be wearing my gloves and my mask. I started doing that. Started wearing my mask because I kept saying, I don't know what I have. I'm protecting me. Not thinking about nobody else. I'm protecting me. because nobody seems to know what's wrong with me. And then almost a year later, and I think they knew before that, the pandemic hit. Had blood work done, I had the antibodies. So I had COVID before COVID hit the world, or before the world knew of COVID. With that being said, my brother died in January 2021 of COVID. When my mother plays this back in her mind on how sick I was, and to know that my brother died of it, it causes her to be depressed all the time until this day. Now, I may get emotional, but God said it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm supposed to get emotional.
Yes.
But it's my life. And God told me it's time to celebrate your life and share. There are a lot of people living with anxiety and depression and don't want to talk about it, or they don't know what it is because they don't seek help. So prior to that, I was dealing with those little stages.
Now,
after that,
had you ever experienced any kind of anxiety or depression prior to COVID? Did you ever, because where you are now, and we're going to get to where you are now, but was there anything else that may have triggered these types of things in you before?
Yes. As I'm learning now through my walk of healing, I moved to North Carolina from New Jersey 11 years ago, and realized when I moved here, I started battling with bouts of depression. Moving from New Jersey, leaving my family, leaving all of my family, really. No one's really here. We have just a few members, but not like my close-knit family, my circle of friends. All I know, that's where I was born and raised. And coming to North Carolina, I felt like I was in literally a twilight zone. That's the best way to describe it, because everything was so different and slow to me. And I didn't feel I could find a connection here in North Carolina. So I constantly prayed about it. But then when I started to get to the months of April, May, and June, my circle of friends, both in New Jersey and North Carolina, realized I was different during those months. And as I look at that time and going through counseling now, my dad's birthday is in July. Coming from Newark, New Jersey, knowing all my family's there, knowing I had access to go visit my dad at the cemetery was enough for me, I realize now. But not having that easy access is hard. So I'm realizing my dad's murder was a true trigger for me. It still is a trigger for me.
Of course.
So that the circle of events that the depression was leading up, and it was just growing every year. And July 13th is my dad's birthday. And then that's when I would really just battle with it. I would try to write things down. I would say happy birthday to my dad on Facebook. But to be truly honest, I don't really remember my dad. I was a young girl, and my mother never talked about my dad. So it was like he was erased from my life. Not intentionally, but it was to protect my brother and I. And that has done something to me. So that causes anxiety and depression for me. Especially when people, they talk about when you grow up in high school and grammar school and you have those daddy and daughter dance. You think about those moments. I always had dad fillers, the uncles, perhaps the cousins that would fill in. It was great at the time, but it didn't fill the void. And my mom would try to make sure those individuals would be there for us, which I appreciate that. But we needed her to be the one to tell us the story. And because she didn't tell us the story and everyone else would tell us the story, I never really believed what others said. I trusted my mom to tell us. And when she told us, finally, actually told me, because my brother passed in 2021, she recently told me, because I asked her why.
You know, and most of us did this. We had this thriving socialite, support system, what have you. And to go into isolation, I imagined, because this happened with me, and I do suffer from anxiety. I started to overthink and overprocess, and I would get really, really overwhelmed with things. And you had just unbelievable loss going on around you. What was your support system like, and who were you able to kind of reach out to and talk to during this time where things were just really tough for you to manage?
The ironic part about this whole season of depression and anxiety, in my mind, I thought I had a whole big system. But my heart told me I didn't. When I looked into, we can say, a baggage of stuff, I carried everybody else's baggage. And when I unload, I had nothing in that bag that pertained to me. So when I think about that, I'm the strong one. No one really asks me if I'm okay. They just know that they think I bounce back from things that happen. But really, I don't. I just take it in and kind of push it to the side if somebody comes to me with their problems. I don't want to unload mine on them. Even though my circle of friends may know I'm going through, my heart was telling me that they're tired of hearing it. If they're tired of hearing it, how can I go to them? So I would go to my best friend, and they would be there for me. But I think at some point, they started to avoid me because, one, they didn't know how to help me. And two, I believe that they thought in their mind that, get over it. It happened. It's time to live your life. And that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
When I think about my mom, when I was going through this deep depression, you want your mother there. So my mom would not help me or talk to me when I would go through this season because she didn't know how to help me. And I knew that, but I knew it would hurt her to see me like this. And I would pray and said, God, please fix me. What's wrong with me? Because I really didn't know what was wrong with me. I just knew I would wake up and didn't feel the same. Wake up and ask God, why did you wake me up? Why? I don't understand why you woke me up. I can't get out of bed. I can't wash my face and brush my teeth. And I'm like, Lord, I'm trusting you. But now I'm angry at you because you can deal with a loss at a time. But multiple loss, I have not had a chance to grieve everyone. And sometimes it comes all at once. So when I lost my grandmother, my best friend in December, I was strong because God gave me that assignment and he said he would walk me through. And he did. But when it was over, you know how everyone's there for you when it happens?
Mm-hmm.
And once that door closed, reality sets in. People will ask you how you doing, and I just say, fine. I don't need to go through the story because I'm kind of tired of telling it. You know I'm not okay. So I have now revamped my circle of friends, and it's only a selective few. And I'm teaching them as I'm learning how to deal with my triggers. I'm teaching and I'm showing them, listen, I have this bag I created, and it has special things in it that gives me life and gives me peace. I kind of walk around with it. It's in this place. I need you to bring me back to that place when I get out of my space, when I'm going through that season. And I really have to show my husband because my husband is truly my gift. It's days when I couldn't get up, and he just would come in there and just lay with me. Thank God he's working from home. It's days when I couldn't eat, and he would just bring me something. Just take a bite. Just take a sip. That's it. I'm not going to pressure you. But it's also days when he said, just get up, call the doctor. And I had to explain, if I can't get up and brush my teeth, I'm not going to call the doctor. I'm kind of tired of talking to the doctor because nobody seems to be helping me. So, and I have a very close relationship with my doctor, and he realized that I needed more, and that when more things happened in my life, it started to build a big layer. So we didn't get to the root cause. We weren't going to be able to help me. And I told him the only way I go to another psychologist or another psychiatrist if you get me a Christian doctor. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have now. Somebody to walk me through, help me get through, and listen to me. Not the doctors that tell me what to do and give me medicine that I will not take.
You know, it's you mentioned the Christian doctor, and you know, and I want to talk about the church in this because we often hear, and I hear it in my church sometimes, oh, just pray about it, or we'll just pray over you, you know, pray and it'll go away, and not really understanding that, you know, our spiritual health, as important as it needs to be in our relationship with God, we have to start focusing on our mental health, our emotional health as well. So talk about how you were able to find this space that kind of basically partnered your journey in terms of healing as well as your relationship with God.
That's interesting. I have several points to that because the church will pray over you, but my heart kept saying they don't understand unless it happens to them. I met someone during our family reunion, and I'm gonna say her name. Her name is Sanya Simmons, and she brought life into my life. When I say that, she introduced me to a team of people that I never would imagine to meet. And this is something that I prayed for with God. I was very specific because I felt that I had failed counseling sessions over the years and that people didn't understand me. So now I'm digging deeper. I'm being more specific when I pray. And I'm asking God, I need to see people that look like me, that are going through the same things that I'm going through, and that can relate and tell me how they're making it, how they're surviving. Give me some skills, some techniques to use. Haven't known her long since July. And she invited me to a virtual workshop. It was a Sound Mind conference. It was an all-day workshop, online, virtual, from 11 to 5. When I tell you I cried throughout the whole conference, I cried. It was like, you talking to me. Wait a minute. Here I am. You can't even see me on Zoom, but you're talking to me. And I started texting my mom, all of these techniques that they were telling me to do for people who are being the dependents for us, who are there to help us. And I'm texting. I'm like, oh, skills. Now my husband's home and he's working. He's walking back and forth. He's listening. And he's listening. He's walking back. I'm like, he never walked back and forth when I'm on the computer like this all day. What's going on? He's listening. And I'm like, oh God, you working today. You working. I can't believe it. Thank you. And I'm like, my prayer was answered. And everything, they had people tell their stories. And it was like, was you in my mind? Get out of this. How you gonna tell me that story? That's my story. I never thought I would find somebody who could relate. And that day changed my life. It helped me to see that there's life after, because you're going to have anxiety and depression all the time. You got to just learn how to manage it. And I'm learning how to manage it. And when I have those moments, I take that time to deal with it at that time and not let things build up. That's something I'm learning. So I'm a survivor because in the process of all of this, I did not want to live. I tried twice to tell God to take me. I tried. It wasn't my time. But you get so deep down in the depression that you can't control it. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care what it is, and then people start labeling you. Well, you ain't a true Christian. You're going through this. Well, I've learned that ministers are going through this. They're trying to make the church happy. I went to church on Sunday and a minister preached at church how 2018 he had to resign from his church because he got tired of living for the folk, for the people. He was so depressed that he couldn't do it no more. He didn't want to live. And I looked at him and I looked down and I kept looking up. I said, here we go again, God. Challenging me. You telling me right in church. I felt like flipping over the pew. I said, Lord. And I'm sitting with the first lady and her family because we're like family. And he put me in the front of the church because he wanted to make sure I was listening. And I was listening and I was like, Jesus, it's getting to the church. Maybe we get more help. I'm going to join this church because I was going to a different church, just visiting. God, you brought me here to help people. Now, don't forget, you got to send me the tools and the techniques to help people. And every day, there's something new I'm getting that's coming to my spirit that God has led me. And I'm like, thank you, Lord, because I can't do it alone. And I know this. And even when I do feel alone, I got God. And I understand the process because God kept telling me there's a reason for your pain. I kept looking up and I'm saying, are you here or are you down there? I need to see the reason because it's hurt. It hurts. It hurts. It's like somebody digging deeper into my heart. How are you going to repair it? Every day he's repairing. To talk to my mother every day, ever since that virtual conference. Oh, Tony, you don't know how that makes me feel. To see her smile on her face, to tell her that we're going to help my brother's legacy live on through the Brian's Love Project that was created in the same year he passed. It brings joy to my heart. I said, Mom, you're going to help me now, right? Yes. And to talk to her and see the smile, because the smile was gone for a long time. Sometimes she couldn't even look at me because I reminded her of him. I still wake up at 4:00 every morning when I got the call about my brother. And then I was taking care of my grandmother, and 4:00 seemed to be the magic number. And now 4:00 is the time that God starts pouring things into my heart, into my life. And I'm up for the day. And I'm ready to go. It's like I get this energized feeling. And I want to save the world. I know I can't, but I just got to do something. I can't live in silence anymore. And in our community, they don't talk about it. My family don't talk about it. Right. There's a lot of us living with depression and anxiety. And they don't want to talk about it. They talk about you, but not about it. So I am at a point in my life, talk all you want about me. I don't care. But I'm going to I don't care if it's helping one person to identify they need help. God put that in my heart as that is my assignment. And that's what I plan to do.
And I'm so glad that you are doing it because your story, I think, is going to help somebody listening. I think it is going to resonate with someone. You talked about, the church just really kind of trying to not hands-on deal with it. In our communities, we don't deal with it. Like you just said, we talk about you. Oh, she's just crazy. Oh, she's this, she's that. But we don't really deal with it. What is your advice to others about how we can start to break that stigma about mental health in the community, in our churches, in our just in our regular communities? How can we start those conversations?
First of all, we need to educate ourselves on anxiety and depression because it comes in all different avenues, shapes, sizes. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be Dr. So-and-so. It doesn't matter. It's going to hit you. And when it hits you, deal with it. Don't push it back because it's only going to get deep and it's going to get buried, but it's going to come back to the surface one day. So talk about it. Start forming groups, community groups. In the church, we have all kinds of programs, and we may have, some churches have programs for grief. We don't focus on anxiety and depression because we can't talk about that. We got to talk about your loss. Focus on your loss. Well, this is because of my loss. I am now living with anxiety and depression. I want to talk about anxiety and depression. Let's talk about it. Let's hear, because I tell you, if they open the doors of the church and start talking about that, that church is going to be packed.
Yep.
It's going to be packed. And we got to be prepared and ready. And I think that's also, and it also helped like people living out in the street, homeless. They don't want to deal with certain things. I mean, some of us are a paycheck away. You just don't know. And some of it comes from the anxiety and depression. No one listened. They done got deeper and deeper into it. So now their brain and mind is clogged up. They can't handle it. And no, they have no support system. You have to support the person who's going through it, because feeling alone, that's when it gets so deep. And that's when the devil start attacking your thoughts and start coming in and start wanting you to take your life, start wanting you to hurt yourself. We have to remember that we have to trust God, pray to God, be vigilant when we pray. Just ask God, when you feel weak, make me strong. Help me, Lord. Just help me. It could be a simple prayer. You don't have to recite the Bible, but pray, talk about it. You got to have people in your circle who wants to be there, that loves you and protect your peace. There are people in your circle who may not care. They just want to know what's going on in your life. It's time for that season to close. Clean your closet. Get rid of them. Start a new wardrobe. It's time.
I love that.
And it's going to include family. Lots of it.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of family friends. They family, I got to see you, but I don't have to see you. I have to see you at certain events. But we don't have to talk outside that. I love you, but you stay right there. Not 6 feet, 12 feet. Because my peace is more important to me and my family. So I'm encouraging people to start support groups. Start talking to people. Start asking people, are you okay today? That's my virtual. I wake up, I look in the mirror, and I say, not hi, gorgeous. I say, are you okay today? Are you okay today? And when I woke up this morning, I wasn't okay. And I told God, I'm not okay today. What we going to do about it? He said, we're going to go to the salt cave. That's your special place. Going to go there, unwind, release the toxins, and start your day. And sometimes he said, just get your husband, grab him. He knows what to do. I already whispered in his ear. And that's all you need, because your support system, God is there. He's telling them what to do. That's the great thing about it, because you already told him and you identified who those members are through God. So now he's working behind the scenes and he's doing everything necessary for you. So he's telling you now, you got to trust my process, but you got to trust your circle that you created. I gave you that as a free will. So I'm trusting that you selected the right people for your circle, and I have. And I'm thankful for them. And some people that are in my circle, when I told them they was part of my circle, they was like, me? It was like, there's things that you said to me, that you did. You text me almost every week and didn't want a phone call because you knew I wasn't going to call you back. I was depressed. But to know that you kept texting me and said to me, don't text me back. I'm praying for you. I love you. I care. I may not can see you right now, but I'm letting you know. Somebody texted me. They sung to me. It hit my heart. I said, God, you're using song now. One of the things that my grandmother loved to do was to sing. And I love to sing. So to hear that coming from somebody from my church who's a pastor, who I never was close to in the church, but knows my story, God's using her. He's bringing her into my life. He's bringing her into my circle. And I'm like, He said, everybody in your circle you may not know personally, but I do. They belong there.
We have a few minutes left, and I mean, this is just, it's so powerful, and I can't wait to share it with my church, this interview, because I love the idea about, change your closet. I love that. Talk about, Wendy, how you are now, what your journey has been like, and what you want other people to know about kind of coming through it. Because we know when you're dealing with a mental illness, when you're dealing with things like anxiety, depression, it's not like you flip a switch and it goes away. It's always there. It may be controlled, it may not be triggered, but it's always there. How are you today, and how are you using your voice to help others understand and know what it means to live with anxiety and depression?
Today, I'm still taking it one day at a time. And that's okay with me. I'm healing. I'm in the healing process. I'm a survivor. I'm surviving anxiety and depression. And with all of that together, I'm learning to live. For me, I'm actually getting to know Wendy Joy again. My mom named me Joy for a reason. And when she tells me that reason, my stomach gets butterflies. And I'm like, really? And I laugh about it. But my friends call me Wendy Joy. And they just love to call me that. And on my dad's side, that's what they called me, Wendy Joy. And I look at the name. I know the meaning of the name. And I'm starting to learn about me again. I got lost. I got lost in the world. Everybody expects you to do things right. You're perfect. My maternal grandmother is very hard on me. And she doesn't realize what she has done to me in the past has really stigmatized my life when it came to doing anything. I always had to be perfect for her because that's what she told me. You can't make a mistake. But yet I never drank, did drugs, or did any of the things that's out there. I might have threw some water on somebody in the window and ran. Something really silly as a kid. But I've always tried to be perfect in their eyes. I was raised by my mom and my two grandmothers because my dad was murdered. My uncles died from drugs. My other uncle is in prison. Like I said, my grandfather died from a stroke from alcohol. I am beating the odds, but was raised by 3 strong women. So I'm going to make it. It's just a process. So I'm encouraging people. My goal is to go out there and tell my story so others can tell their story, so they can live their truth. God put us on this earth to live. And every passing day that we let die, a part of us die. So I'm learning to live for Wendy. I'm learning to live and enjoy my life with my family. So my goal is I'm in the process of writing a book, and God keeps throwing these things at me. And I'm like, God, slow down. I'm trying to do one thing at a time. He said, you do it all together. All I want you to do is write. You have a story to tell. And I need you to go back to when you were 9 years old, because things have happened to people that they can no longer live their life because of trauma. And those traumas will live with us forever if we don't identify them and those triggers. Something will happen. We will smell something. We will see something, and then we will shut down and really don't know why. We have to learn how to identify the traumas in our lives, the triggers, and then put a hold on them. Find a way to deal with them. Talk to someone. It's okay. Talk to a professional. Sometimes you may need medicine in the beginning. I did, but I wouldn't take anything stronger than the first dose. I just needed something to calm me down because I can actually walk outside the door and come back in the house because I can't breathe. I'm no longer feeling that anxiety. I have driven to places that I was invited to, sat in the parking lot, and left. So I'm asking God for my life back, and He's slowly giving it to me, as well as He's educating me, and He wants me to educate others. So He's using me. And every day I say, God, use me. I'm yours. I'm yours anyway. We're here for a season. We're here for when He's ready. I'm going to be ready when He comes. But in the process, He said, I'm putting you to work. You may not be able to work in the world, but you're going to work for me. That's your assignment. That's your job. I'm paying you by giving you life, giving you options. That's your pay. That's your pay to feel good. When you go out there and find all kinds of things for the homeless and you give them things, the homeless people in my area, they know my car and my truck. I pull up, they know I got something special for them. They don't get nothing cheesy. They get something special. I could be sitting here talking to you right now and go in the kitchen and start making sandwiches. My husband knows the cue now. You getting ready to go downtown? I said, yeah, God said it's time. And I do it. Make hot meals, that's me. So my thing is to find your niche. When you don't have the things you used to do, find the niche. Find what you're good at. Use your gift, because everybody has a gift. God gives everybody a gift. Use your gift, whether it's singing, writing, doing for others. Use your gift. You're not sure what your gift is, ask God. He's going to tell you. God told me several times, you have a gift, and you have a gift, and you have a gift, and your gift is singing, and your gift is doing that. He's starting me to sing again. I said, okay, I'm doing it, but I'm only going to sing for you now. So get my vocal cords ready, because I'm singing for you, God. That's it. So I'm learning. So just use me, Lord. So I want people to go out there, find help. They can call me, they can email me. Anything they want to do, if they can't find it, I will surely look with them and help them find it, because we all deserve to live.
Mm. Wendy Joy, I'm going to call you that from now on, because this isn't going to be the first conversation, or the last conversation rather. I just thank you for just your honesty, your vulnerability, and being able to help put a face on this so that people don't feel isolated. People don't feel alone. I thank you for being so candid today and sharing your story. And, you know, I just love your energy. I love everything about you. I just think that you are someone who has a gift. God is using you, and we understand that and we feel that. And I wish you continued healing in your journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I do have one more thing.
Yes.
Right before I got on, I received a text message from my sorority sister that her husband, Marlon O'Brien, he had a stroke a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of reverted back. So I just want my sorority sister, Darcia, to know that I'm praying, that we're all are praying, and that God is standing right with him. She has to trust him. And I just want her to hang on in there. It's not easy, but God knows what he's doing, and we got to trust him. Keep those angels, as I wear my angel every day, around my neck, my grandmother and my brother, and I wear his badge. So when I say trust God, trust him. Sometimes these are my peace. I don't have to wear them every day. But when the devil tries to attack me, I put them close to me. So I want Darcia to do that too. Put God close to her. Know that Marlon is going to be okay. Thank you for everything, Tanya. Thank you.
Amen. Wendy Joy, it was beyond a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And if you feel overwhelmed with feelings of anxiety, depression, or more, please visit Mental Health America at mhanational.org or dial 988 for crisis and support 24 hours a day. Remember, you can listen to past episodes of the PowerPLAY Show wherever you subscribe to podcasts, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora Podcasts, and now Amazon Music. You can also watch us on YouTube. Simply search the Hull Bay Productions Media channel and be sure to subscribe so you always know when we're live. And we air each Saturday at 5 p.m. on BroncoiRadio.com. So tune into a new episode of the PowerPLAY Show each Thursday wherever you subscribe to podcasts, or on our YouTube channel at the Hull Bay Productions Media channel, or simply visit thepowerplayshow.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Tonya McGrath. Thank you for tuning in, and please be well.